Apart from the fact that Arya is her own person, Robert has never met a young Lyanna. He saw Lyanna only a couple of times in public as a young teenage girl. Robert still thinks years later that Lyanna would never have crossed him in the same manner that Cersei does, since she behaved and looked like a lady in public when he saw her, which is why he only saw her beauty, but not the iron underneath. Hello everyone, if you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notifications bell, so you don't miss any new updates on your favorite TV series. The Lyanna that Robert remembers is a lovely, quiet and well-mannered little lady, not some free-spirited girl who dresses up as a knight to defend the honor of her friend. He didn't truly know her. When Robert first meets Arya, she is a 9-year-old girl who frequently passes for a stable boy because of her messy appearance. It's highly probable that before the direwolf event, Robert was unaware that Ned even had 2 daughters. Either way, all Robert saw was a messy little girl with untidy hair who was not very ladylike. It was nothing like what Robert imagined Lyanna to be. Ned was the only one who noticed the resemblance between his sister and his young daughter because he had known Lyanna since they were young. He saw his sister in dresses and acting like lady as was expected of her, but he also saw her playing swords with her brothers, riding horses, and being a bit of a wild child all around, kind of like Arya. Robert never knew this side of Lyanna and, therefore, never made the connection between the two. To be fair to Robert, he only met Lyanna when she was already a teenager in Winterfell, when Rickard already made the deal to betroth her. The youngest he might have met her was 14 or so, depending on the month she was born. Unless stated otherwise, I'm fairly sure Robert only went to Winterfell with Ned for that occasion, otherwise he was raised at the Eyrie for the majority of his time as a ward of Jon Arryn. If he has any memory of Lyanna's face at all, it's of her as a 14 to 15-year-old. Meanwhile, he meets an 8-year-old Arya. The difference in age is rather big. The same basis goes for how Robert only knew her, and very briefly at that, when she was 14 to 15, so naturally even if Arya looked like Lyanna, that won't be obvious to someone who only knew her as a teen while she's a child. Likewise, Ned's POV doesn't compare Arya's looks to Lyanna's. In terms of looks, she's said to have the typical Stark looks like Jon does. Granted, that could also be due to Ned compares Arya to Lyanna like Robert in terms did of personality, so he has no memories of his sister as a child that Robert and Lyanna weren't close at all. So it could be that Arya looks like Robert's fantasy Lyanna has nothing to do because he was at the Eyrie during his sister's childhood. See how Ned mentally contradicts Robert's Lyanna would have let me fight in the melee without fuss by thinking actually, she wouldn't have been half as polite as Cersei was in telling you not to do that stupid-ass thing. At most, Robert would be more likely to think that Arya looks like a female version of 8-year-old Ned, but with a more spirited personality. Robert never met a very young Lyanna. He only saw 14 to 15-year-old Lyanna, and he only saw her like once or twice, in public. Lyanna looked and acted like a lady in public, that is why Robert only saw her beauty, but not the iron underneath, and years later he is still convinced she would have never crossed him the way Cersei does. The Lyanna from Robert's memories is beautiful, delicate, soft-spoken, well-behaved, an ethereal creature, almost too good to be true. He never actually saw or knew her. Thanks for watching, please don't forget to like this video and drop comments. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything.